So this is my third video journal entry. My e-bike commute to work, it's about 5 miles, and as I promised in previous videos, we were going to start actually putting in map and elevation information. So I'm just going to be throwing on the screen several times throughout at least the first part of this trip where I am along geographically and then in terms of elevation as well. It's still winter, it's early March, I believe about March the 4th, and I'm in downtown Ithaca now. I'll show you the map here, and I'm just starting out in the north side of the downtown area, still on flat ground, and I'll show you the elevation, and the word here with the arrow shows you about where I am. Okay, so I'm actually going to take a different route this time around, and normally I had gone along Route 13, but that route became impassable. Well, one of the paths became impassable along that route, and so it forced me to take another route up the hill, and I've got it mapped out in the Google map that I'll flash on the screen several times here. But this is a steeper route, so it involves a lot more climbing, and if I was doing this under my own power, which I did do in February, it's quite a workout. So it just makes me appreciate having the motor to help me out up the hill. But in any case, we're taking a more direct route up the hill instead of going at more of an angle alongside Route 13. So it's a slightly, you could say it's slightly more direct. So my time for this shooting is going to be quite a bit, well, not quite a bit, but only a minute shorter. So normally my record is 25 minutes, especially winter riding in the cold. And this video I make it about 24 minutes. The length of this video is longer because of the time it takes to put the map shots in, but I make this trek in about 24 minutes. Also noteworthy in this entry is that I am not using my second battery pack while going up this hill. I'm only going to use one battery pack this whole time. It's been my theory that I could make it on just one, going up at least, and I will do that in this video, so you won't see me taking time to swap out wires, switching over battery packs. So that last bit of snow you saw me ride through right there was probably the worst it's going to get this whole trip. This is March, and in March generally the weather's going to warm up. In fact, it didn't this morning, so it's about 5 degrees out this morning. Pretty cold day in March. Record breaking temperatures all of February, and still cold in March. So what you're going to see in this video is my location there, and I'm almost to the hill. But there's the high school on the left. I'm going to call this route that I'm going the school tour route, because I'm going to pass about 4 schools on this route. That's the high school on the left. But so in this video, really what you're going to see is the performance that you get out of the packs that I'm working with, and my packs are each 5 pounds, a little over 5 pounds a piece. So I'm going to make it on just 5 pounds of batteries up this hill, 5 miles, and approximately 800. I thought it was 850, but it's more like 800 feet in elevation. You can see that on the elevation map. I've reversed the elevation map around, and you're going to see it in just a second here. But when I originally took the GPS data, I was going down the hill, so you can read it from left to right. I reversed the map around So it's in meters as well, and kilometers per hour. So now we're going to start going up the hill, and we're going to sort of zigzag up the hill. You'll see the map and how it goes up. On the left, that was Boynton Middle School. And so we're ducking up the hill now, and we're just starting out at the bottom there, and it's a pretty steep climb up right at first. And as you can see by that elevation map, all the climbing is done within, the first third. Well, about a third of the trek is this steep climbing, and so you can't really tell. And the reason I use the elevation map in these videos is because with 2 dimensions you can't really see how steep it is. I mean, the only indication is the houses and driveways, and you can see how they've been cut out of the hill to kind of make them level. So that's really the only indication visually you're going to see of how steep this is. If you were there, you would feel it, but using the elevation map, I can give you a better idea about the work that's going into this trip and how much performance is demanded out of an e-bike system or an e-vehicle. Eventually, we're going to springboard from e-bikes into more car-like devices. So we're zigzagging up the hill, as you can see by the map here, and this is one of the main long stretches here of straight ground, and it's a nice gentle slope, but still we're climbing up a hill. And again, I made this trip under my own power, and it is not pleasant if you're not in shape. So I was a little sore afterwards, and it took me twice as long to make this trip. Just biking up without any motor or electricity. So it can be done. It would just take you twice as long to do it, and by the time you did get to work, you would be sweating. It's cold out, so that kind of limits how much sweating happens. On the right, you can see sort of sheer drops in the face, and that should give you an indication of how steep this terrain is. Ithaca is filled with the shale rock, and you just got sometimes when you're going through gorges and steep faces, you're just going to see exposed flat sheer drops, and so that's just an indication of how steep it is. We're going over a gorge here. This is a small bridge going over a gorge. Ithaca is filled with them. Very beautiful, very pretty, but not very visible in the winter. So, but I'm going to try to do better in future videos to show you more of the nature of the deal. Okay, so we're about to make a really steep climb right here, and we're going up through Cayuga Heights in this video. So the road should be pretty well taken care of, but a lot of climbing, and this pretty much is as bad as it gets going up this hill. I believe it's called Strawberry Lane or Strawberry Road, something like that, but very steep. It's going to flatten out just a bit here in the center, and there's 2 young kids going to school. I imagine they're high school students going down the hill in the morning, and I give them a nod. But you see my helmet is tilted, and that's because I'm kind of tired. I'm trying to help the bike out a bit because it is cold. In future videos, I will try not to help the bike out at all, just so you can see that people that might not be able to pedal will also be able to make it up these trips with similar vehicles. Okay, so this is the last climb. It's here in the map, and the last steep climb, and you're going to see the elevation map here, and you can see we're almost to the top of this steep part of the trip. So I'm going to stop showing the elevation map and the Google map now at this point, just because this is the main part that I really want to show you, and that is the e-bike's ability to get up these very steep inclines, and since all the climbing is done early on in the trip, there's no need to illustrate to you anymore how steep this is. This is probably the last steep part of the journey. You can see the houses on the right and the left, and they're just trying to carve out a spot for themselves in the hill, and so that's the only indication really visually you'd be able to tell watching this video. Okay, when I come to this stop, I'm not really going to stop, and it's not just because I like breaking the law. It is because on an e-bike you really don't want to demand a whole lot of electricity from the motor at a plain standstill, especially on a slope. So as much as possible I'm checking to see if cars are coming, and then if I don't have to stop, I really don't. Okay, to my right is the route I'd normally go up, and that's the route that's mapped in the Google map. But that's the road's been closed, and so that means I have to take a detour. On the right here, there you're seeing Cuga Heights Elementary School. That's the third school we're gonna pass on this trip. And again, I'm taking a detour, and it's funny because what's going on in my mind now is I'm thinking about the detour, and I'm thinking if I was walking, how much work it would be to go around this other way. But in a vehicle, you don't really think like that. If you have to take a detour in a car or some other vehicle, you just think about time. You don't necessarily think about the terrain or more intimate details about the route that you're going. So in my mind, I know which way I'm going to go, and I'm familiar with it. I've walked it. This is my old stomping ground, and so in my mind, I'm thinking it's a big hassle to go another way. But the truth is, it's no more hassle than going the other way. It's pretty much exactly the same distance, exactly the same climb. So it's just a different experience on a bicycle because you're more exposed, and it causes you to think more about the intimate details, how steep it is, the different parts where you just really normally would be psychologically exhausted. And so that's what was going through my mind. But now that I'm actually on this path now, I'm okay with it. I'm realizing it's getting me exactly where I want to go. It's not any bother, and so something to note about riding and walking, and you just get a more intimate feel for the route that you're taking, and so that would be a reason to take bicycles, and you're just going to get more details. The other thing that's happening, this is early March, and as much as it's 5 degrees out during this time, the birds are already starting to come out, and so if you're a bird watcher, or this is your time of year, and on a bicycle you're going to be able to hear those calls, whereas in a car you wouldn't. Not that I'm a bird watcher, I just happen to know some people that are, and so it's nice to be exposed to the elements because you're hearing all these things, you're experiencing the environment, and it causes you to notice things a lot better. So it gives you a good awareness of your surroundings. Not that you're any worse for not being aware of your surroundings, especially if you're just trying to get to work, but just something to note. If that's your thing, then this form of transportation is definitely better. You can hear traffic more, and as you can see by this elevation map, I'm done climbing, and once I make it to this point, I've pretty much reached the top of the hill. I'll still have maybe 100 feet, 150 feet more to go, but it's very gradual. At this point, you're pretty much have done all your work, and on an e-bike, you really haven't done that much work. So at this point, you're really celebrating and happy that your bike has made it this far and saved you all that work. Okay, this is a very busy intersection we're coming to here. This is Community Corners, and the roads are nice and clear, and so I'm okay to stay on the roads. I might have considered going on the sidewalk to stay out of people's way, But a car is going to take it upon themselves here to go in front of me without making much of a stop. And at this point, I'm kind of insulted and offended. And so I decided to show this car that I can keep up with it. And so it's just what's going through my head. And so I'm going about 25 miles per hour. I'm trying to keep up with this car. And just to give you an idea about the performance of an e-bike, even though I've done all that climbing and gone up this high in elevation, the bike still has the ability to perform to the level that, you know, you can keep up with traffic. That car is going 30, I'm doing about 25, and it's left me, but not to the point that I can't see it. So I'm able to keep up with it. And so that's just to show you that you can still count on the performance of the bike to keep you in traffic and sort of not a nuisance to people that are behind you because they have to wait for you, or it's busy in both lanes and they don't have an opportunity to pass you, and so they're just frustrated with you that they have to wait. So that's nice about electric bikes as well versus regular bikes. Okay, so the neighborhood we're going through now is called Northeast, and this is sort of the last neighborhood before you get into the Dryden-Lansing area of town. And the roads still, this is a nicer neighborhood like Hugo Heights, and the roads still here are pretty well kept, but you still have to deal with some snow on the road, and so it's not very steep. We had a light dusting the night before, so it's not like there's a lot of contours in the road that I have to negotiate with and struggle with. There are some garbage cans in the road here, so apparently it's been windy. On the tops of the hills you're going to get a lot more wind, so especially when you're riding into the wind, it really can affect your performance, and it's very important to be careful in those circumstances because a gust of wind can really blow you off course being on a two-wheeled vehicle versus four wheels. So just a word of caution, if you're riding on a shoulder or something like that and a gust of wind comes along, just be careful not to turn into traffic. Okay, so we're going along here, and this is a slight incline, not much. I'm taking it slow because I'm feeling kind of sorry for the batteries, as I've said in previous videos, and so I'm trying not to rip through this neighborhood too fast. Again, there is some snow on the ground, so you don't want to get an accident unnecessarily, but more I'm just considering the batteries, and I want to make it to work without destroying my battery pack. So okay, so as you can see by the signs there, we're coming into another school, and you're going to see some students, there can be a lot of traffic. So the issue with going by schools on any bike or any vehicle is there's going to be a lot of traffic in the morning. I'm trying to beat all the kids to school, and so it's still before the buses come and drop them off. So but something to keep in mind, that when you're going around these areas, there's going to be a lot of traffic and people kind of frustrated because they've got to slow down and they want you out of the way as well. So on the right, it's called Northeast Elementary School, and that person that was walking was a student, but a bit taller than an elementary student, and that's because right next to Northeast Elementary School is DeWitt Middle School, and so I'm going to take this sidewalk here that's very well groomed and not a lot of snow on it at all, so it's nice because these paths are going to be shoveled because people have to use them. So on the left is DeWitt Middle School is the name of that school, and you can see school buses there, and so there's more activity. The middle school students come earlier. So I'm going to hop out right in with the buses because I'm going to, at this point, get ready to ride into traffic, and rather than take the sidewalk, I'm going to go in with where the cars are. So at this point, I'm going to dart out into traffic, being aware, because again, these are busy times, and the people are stopped there because students are crossing the road. So it's very important to be on the lookout for frustrated drivers, and as well get to where you're going. So be considerate. Okay, and this last little hill is that I'm going up right now is it for elevation, pretty much. It's all flat ground from this point on, and so I can pick up speed and get to work and try to make my new record time of 24 minutes. But I think largely the reason I was able to get 24 minutes wasn't because I was going any faster, but I just didn't have to swap out batteries in the middle of the commute. So this is Warren Road, and on the right there is yet another school type institution. It's called BOCES. So really there's more like 6 schools along this. There's actually a Montessori school coming up as well, and maybe just a daycare, I'm not sure. So I'll call this route, this school tour route. But this is Warren Road, and this is more of a country road, so you're going to get a lot of people driving bigger vehicles. UPS is on this road, as well as FedEx. There's a FedEx warehouse, as well as the U.S. Postal Service. So you're going to get a lot of trucks, so it's important to try to stick to the shoulder if you're not going that 25 miles per hour. And really, legally, you're not supposed to go 25 miles per hour on an e-bike under electric power. If it really is your legs doing that, they can't pull you over. But if you're on an e-bike going that fast, at least in the United States, they say the limit is 20 miles per hour. So I'm going to just stick to the shoulder. But the shoulder's very dirty here and muddy, so I've got a sort of a rain suit on that kind of keeps the muck off me because it's flying. And it also is getting on my battery pack, which I'll make a blog entry about maybe a little later. In these conditions, it's important to insulate your battery pack from the elements, just because the salt and the water can get up into the leads and then give you a short on your battery pack, which would essentially ruin your battery pack. But I'm going to hop into traffic now, and this is going to cross Route 13, and so I've got to really pour on the steam here and keep up with traffic just to get through the intersection that I'll take back to the shoulder. But this is Route 13 here, and I'm across to the other side, no problem. And that's pretty much it for this trek. I'm going to pick up maybe 20 miles per hour here. I'm not really pouring on the steam. I'm not concerned about being late. I got out early enough that I'm sure I'm going to be on time, so I can play it safe and try not to slip on the shoulder. But again, the snow isn't very deep because it was just a light dusting the night before. So that's pretty much it. At this point, I can't turn and go my normal shortcut route. I've got to go into the main airport entrance, and so my winter paths that I was bragging about being able to navigate with my e-bike, turns out that it was just bragging. And the truth is, if the snow is too deep, it's really not worth trying to bike through it. It's just going to take you too much frustration and time. So I'm turning into the airport area now. At this point, my helmet camera is going to run out of batteries, but I just got about 30 more seconds at the end of this video to get to work. So I'm glad to have a record, and I will attach this video to my blog so that you can read the rest of my posts along with the video.